नमस्कार, जय हिंद, जय भारत एंड वेलकम टू डेफ टॉक्स। दिस इज आदि अचिंत। सबसे पहले मैं ये बोलना चाहूंगा कि दिस विल बी वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट ऑफ द राइटर सीरीज। मैं कुछ राइटर्स को जिन्होंने हिस्ट्री में काफी अच्छा काम करा है उनको आपके सामने रखूंगा। विल टॉक अबाउट व्हाट वर्क दे हैव डन एंड कई और चीजों के बारे में व्हाट वर्क दे आर डूइंग आल्सो। ऑफ कोर्स ये भी तो करना है। तो आई डोंट वांट टू काइंड ऑफ डू मच, बट व्हाट आई वांट टू डू इज गिव द राइटर्स some space where they can once again remind us। कई लोगों ने काफी कुछ काम करा है, देयर आर रेडी बुक्स ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल, बट हम भूल जाते हैं क्योंकि देयर इज जस्ट सो मच इन्फॉर्मेशन व्हिच इज देयर। एक इंटरेस्ट आता है कुछ चीज पढ़ने को, उसके बाद इतना सब कुछ हो जाता है कि वो पूरा भूल जाता है। द वर्ल्ड has become very very fast and it's high paced. So on that note, I have with me Jay bhai, who's written this fantastic book. I just finished reading it some time ago. It's on Major Shaitan Singh, 1962. So let's say namaskar bhai, welcome to the show. Well done, firstly. I mean, you're one of the first people who's written
Namaskar.
about him.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. So this is the first biography on Major Shaitan Singh, and when I started in 2019, till then nobody had ever, even touched the topic on his life. Basically, his life, nobody had ever tried to explore it. And Battle of Rezangla, there were many stories and articles written about it, but obviously the life of Major Shaitan Singh was unexplored. So uh, it is the first biography on him.
Yeah. So, what do you find which was so interesting that kind of said,
Yes.
"Yeah, इस पे
So
लिखते हैं."
it's a very interesting story. In my college days, in 2018, I came across this story of the Battle of Rezangla, what had happened there. So, in a college competition, which was a storytelling competition, I presented the story of Major Shaitan Singh. And I, failed in that competition. I could not win anything. So, it made me more curious where I lagged, because I always felt that something in the story is missing. So I started finding more about him. Then I found the contact of his family, and I met his son. And then and there, actually, when he told me that there is no biography written on him, so I just told him that I want to write one, and I didn't know how to write a book or a biography, basically. So I kind of promised him. So then I started exploring, because it made me more curious that why nobody has ever tried to write on his life. So I could find a lot of people who were related to him directly or indirectly, and I met a lot of people. I found a lot of documents also about his career, or early military career, or state forces career. So, and state forces always interested me because they were something, which were local, and people knew each other very well, family relations and everything. So they interested me a lot. And he was in the state forces for 4 years or 5 years, so that made me much more interested in researching on him. And 1962 obviously is a very mysterious thing. So it made me curious to find 62 more. So when I completed Major Shaitan Singh, then I was like, I want to pursue 1962.
There's just so many stories of that war that we don't know about
Yeah.
what happened, who did what, and everything like that. And Major Shaitan Singh के ऊपर, I believe there's a movie coming out, and आप भी कुछ कर रहे
Yes.
हो उसके अंदर. So that is very good, and I'm glad that stuff is moving in that direction. But tell me something. The man who know about 62 and everything like that, he's a legend. I mean,
Yes,
भाई
absolutely, absolutely.
कोई कोई वो नहीं है, कंपैरेटिव नहीं है, बिल्कुल कंपैरेटिव नहीं
Yes.
है. How do you, I mean, how did you kind of, when you were researching your this thing about him, did it, I mean, come to you that yaar ye to, I'm not surprised this guy is such a legend.
No, actually, if you look at the character of Major Shaitan Singh, he is a
Hmm.
very calm and pleasant guy who doesn't speak much, or you can say very reserved guy. He'll hardly laugh, or he'll hardly speak with anybody. And he was not a very, I'll say, very tall or muscular kind of guy, like people show in the movies or things like that. He was not like that. He was an ordinary person like you and me. But there was something which happened in that battle. The leadership skills and all the experience came to a conclusion there, and the way he fought there, because he was a, he I have met the veterans who served with him and the soldiers who were there at the Battle of Rezangla. They told me he treated everybody like his own family. So that was the factor. People followed him because it was the love and it was the care which he gave to his soldiers, which made them fight for him in the Battle of Rezangla. So that's how he was. And uh, I guess, a person can go to both the extremes. On one extreme he was a very calm and gentle person, and on the other extreme he was a very ferocious leader who fought the Battle of Rezangla, because Battle of Rezangla is in itself a legend. No battle was fought like that
Yeah.
in 1962 or any other war, that almost everybody in the company got killed. So he had this mindset. I came across two letters. One was written by him to his friend, and other one was a reply from his friend.
Mm.
So when he wrote after the Goa liberation in 1961, he is writing that you got a chance to fight, but I did absolutely nothing here. So if you see that, you can get to know about what the person is thinking, that he didn't get a chance to fight for his motherland. And when he moved to Ladakh, his friend is writing to him that now you have got a chance to do something for the motherland. So that was the thing. He always had this, uh, I'll say, hunger to do something for his motherland. So it was there in his mind all the time. And he got a
But
chance finally.
yeah, he got a chance, and I mean, what he did with that chance is, I mean, it's really history. But
Yes,
when
absolutely.
you met all these guys who were at the Battle of Rezangla, beginning a conversation with these people is very difficult. I mean, what do you say? क्या हुआ sir वहाँ पर उस दिन? Right?
No,
It's
so
very difficult to. हाँ. So tell
my
us about that.
my technique of doing any interview or any conversation is very different with the veterans. I don't start with
Hmm.
क्या हुआ था. I start with उससे पहले क्या क्या चल रहा था, because you get a
Hmm.
timeline, they get comfortable with you, and after that you talk about what was the actual picture, what happened there.
Yeah.
So I
So.
always start with what how they moved to Ladakh,
Hmm.
because knowing that part is also very important, because there are a lot many things, because there were no roads, there were lack of transportation, just there was initially just air transportation. So how people came to Ladakh till 13 Kumau came, there were roads obviously, but how they came to Ladakh and what happened thereafter, because ऐसा तो नहीं हुआ कि आते ही उनको रिजांगला पे चढ़ा दिया गया. They came, they stayed in Chushul, then they moved to Rizangla. And what
Hmm.
happened at Rizangla, they were making defenses or not, they were laying mines or not, knowing those things are also very important. So I try to do that, and after that I talk about the battle, what happened.
So
So
what is the juice of the thing that you got as far as the survivors were concerned? What is their emotional uh, place as far as that battle? What do they say?
yeah, so basically every survivor, they are very old now, so memories are all obviously fading now. So one thing they generally say is that the number of Chinese was so massive, like they were coming one wave after another, and it was happening all over in Ladakh. In every single battle, 8 battles were fought in Ladakh, and every single battle Chinese were coming like that. So at Rezangla was a very big feature, and every post had a distance of almost 1 kilometer. Like 8 platoon is 1 kilometer away from uh, this nine platoon, or nine platoon is 1 kilometer away from seven platoon this side. So this was happening, and the survivors are mostly from the headquarter platoon.
Hmm.
One was the radio operator of Major Shaitan Singh, and one was the LMG guy, Havaldar Nihal Singh, who got a Sena medal. And then there was one survivor who passed away long back. He was the mortar. section commander. So
Acha.
these guys were in the center, and Chinese had attacked from the behind. They basically, they did their assault on the flanks, and from there they came from the behind, and they attacked the 9 platoon company headquarters and all places. So every veteran who I've spoken with has told me actually about this thing, that they had fired so much that their weapons were not properly. And
Start.
so they had fired so much of ammunition that their weapons got jammed, or they started creating some problems. And we also lacked artillery support at Rezangla. So these are the two main concerns which they faced there. And every time I speak with those veterans, they tell me the same thing, that Chinese were in massive numbers, or our weapons were not uh, too great. And the Chinese had automatic weapons, and they had come
Mm.
with rocket launchers and machine guns and everything. And we were lacking all kinds of weapons. We had mortars, obviously, 3-inch mortars were there, and the mortar uh, section did a great job. They fired almost around 993 mortars on the Chinese
Wow.
out of 1,000. So just think about it. 7 mortars were remaining.
Literally last man, last
And
bullet, huh?
uh, yeah, actually, last man, last bullet. And I always say, because when I explored the life of Major Shaitan Singh, I came across one thing. His first posting with the infantry was in Dras in 1949.
Mm.
And Dras and Ladakh, Dras is a part of Ladakh, but Dras and Eastern Ladakh have similar conditions in terms of terrain and weather. So he had some idea of mountain warfare, because he got posted to Dras just after the 1947-48 war, and hostilities were still going on there. They used to go on long range patrols and everything. So he had some kind of idea how mountain warfare is. And he had served a long time as a mortar platoon commander in 6 Kumau and 13 Kumau. So the way he placed mortars at Rezangla was very crucial and very important, because one survivor told me that Major Shaitan Singh came to Rezangla later on. He didn't go with the company initially. So when the company reached, they had placed mortars somewhere else. Then Major Shaitan Singh came and he changed the position of mortars. So even survivors told me that he had very good experience with mortars, and this is true. He went to IMA for some time to demonstrate mortars also,
Acha.
and he had done courses on mortars and everything. So he was a very well experienced officer. And probably in 13 Corps, there was just one officer from that time who had served in Ladakh already in 1949. So, so if I have to conclude this, then I can say that he was a very experienced officer in terms of fighting in Ladakh, with with whatever he had, mortars and the company, and personal weapons.
Mm.
So he did the placements very good.
What do you? I mean, just it's a very funny. I mean, the kind of emotions that you get when you read about these kind of people. And बोलते हैं ना करके
Right.
चले गए ना इनको कुछ थैंक यू बोल सकते हो ना कुछ कर सकते हो. There's nothing you can do. There's this. It's a very, I don't know. It's a very unique feeling that you get when you read about these kind of things. But I want to ask you one last question is about when you spoke to these guys about the 62 battle, ठीक है, and to a point आज जिस तरह से चीजें हुई, I don't know if you spoke to them around the Chinese standoff or before that or what, but now when they see what happened with China, did they say anything different? What did they tell you?
Yes.
Go.
Can you repeat the question? Because I
Yeah, I
lost
was.
the
Yeah, I
last
was
part
saying
of the
basically
question.
when they, when the 62 guys, when they see and hear about what happened with China now, I don't know if you spoke to them or around that time, but what have they been? What has been their impression about what's happening with China?
So the most surprising thing I ever heard from a veteran of 62, I'm not talking about the officers, I'm talking about the Jawans who fought the war actually on ground. So I met approximately around 80 veterans and families of that time who just participated in Ladakh. So the veterans of 5 Jat who fought in various sectors like DBO and Phobrang and Hot Springs, they told me one thing, that Chinese were a better enemy than Pakistanis, because 5 Jat is a unit which fought 62 and then 65. So all these guys who fought 62 and survived fought 65, and they saw what happened in 65 while fighting with Pakistan, because their officers, they were literally captured and they were tortured in a very bad manner and killed later on.
Mm.
So they knew what happened in 65, and their troops got captured in 62 as well, but they returned safely without not too much of torture. Chinese mostly focused on psychological uh, thing, not the physical torture kind of thing. They use a lot of propaganda. So whoever I've spoken with, they have told me that Chinese almost everywhere, be it DBO, be it Galwan, Hot Springs, everywhere, they were using speakers and they were spreading propaganda that Hindi Chini bhai bhai or ये हमारा जमीन है तुम यहाँ से चले जाओ. And one more interesting thing I was told was, in DBO, before attacking, Chinese informed our soldiers a night prior that tomorrow at 4 or 5 a.m. we are going to attack. So you can retreat from here. So this was one of the most interesting thing I got to know about DBO, that the soldiers were afraid of us because they had automatic weapons and their supply line was also very good.
Mm.
And we had obviously no roads there, just air transportation in some areas. And these veterans, uh, they had to fight, two things before fighting the enemy. First was the terrain, and second was the weather. So they kind of faced three enemies at one single time.
Tough battles. That's all one can say. It's quite a
Yeah,
quite a
absolutely.
story when you actually read about 62. It's quite a heart wrenching story. But bhai, thank you so much, yeah. And I'd recommend everybody, can you please show your book so that I can recommend people to please buy it? It's available on Amazon. I think for
Yeah,
250, 300
sure.
rupees. It's not that expensive. Just buy the damn thing. It's beautifully written, very simple. Know about the man. He's a legend if we ever had one. Let me just say this. They've been very few. And let me just say this, agar ye survive karte, he would have been one of the best army chiefs that India would have ever produced. The guy was absolute legend. I mean, controlling a battle, keeping your nerves through, and doing what he did, fantastic. On that note, thank you so much. Please purchase the book.
So
Jai Bhai. Yeah, please,
just want to say one thing.
please.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing. The thing which he was taught very early in life or in his military career was, either you win or die. So this was the thing which he took to the battleground with him, and he actually died there, because in, as they say, in war there are no runner up. So
Yeah.
yeah, obviously he chose to die, not to run away from the battlefield.
That's what is, that's what becomes very hard to digest. And especially in today's day and age when people just don't know about this. But today, at least I'm pretty happy that people have started learning, people have started wanting to know about all this stuff. So thanks to Jay and many other people
Right.
who are doing stuff like this. Please buy the book, check it out, and leave your comments at the bottom. Like the video and share it with people as well. Thank you so much for watching. Namaskar. Jai Hind. Jai Bharat.
Thanks.